And I'm right back. So when I print sublimation, I used to have a problem of having a line across the polyester. For example, this is a design in the top of the paper where it touches the shirt after I heat it up. It makes a straight line into the polyester that does not come out, basically ruining the shirt, making it very noticeable and putting a square around your entire design, which defeats the purpose of doing full color sublimation. So I found out that you can use a pillow in order to prevent that, but the pillows are kind of expensive. So I got in my DIY bag and created my own pillows, and I'm about to show you how I do that. All you need is a T-square or a ruler, uh, a pair of scissors, a blade, some tape, and I have this paper. This is like the paper that you I think they put this paper like in gift bags, like when you get something for Christmas or something that's extremely light. I think it has like a little waxy film on it that's very light, and I'll show you how that comes in handy. So I want to what I'm basically doing by creating this pillow is making it where it's not a flat surface, but it's a hump that smooths down around the edges, and it's within the sheet of the paper, meaning that I'm about to make it where when I lay this art down flat on the shirt, the foam fits within the boundaries of the outline of the actual sheet of paper, but it still covers the entire piece of art. So when I press it, I know that I get even heat and I get the full color coming through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with just cutting out the shape of my actual sheet of paper out of foam. The reason why I'm making this myself instead of buying it is when I looked up the ones I needed, they do have some packs, but the particular one I needed at the time was like I think $12, and the bigger one was $19. And I'm gonna need probably about 30 or 40 of these over time because I do variations of different sizes, and every different size print is gonna need its own pillow. Because if it's too big, you're gonna see the edge of the paper. I'm sorry, if it's too big, the paper's gonna fit inside it, and if it's too small, the art's gonna hang off of it. So it has to be within the parameters of the art that you're making. Just using the scissors to make this more cut the rest of the shit. Piece. I'm about to cut it the other way. I actually just came up with this today too. I went to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and ended up going to Walmart and just buying the phone after I thought about what I'm actually trying to do. I was just like, I can make that. Also, if you're ever looking for the name of it is Teflon sheets. The Teflon sheets that you use when you do heat press or sublimation, and you can't find any in your town, you can go to Walmart and get an oven sheet, and that's what I use for pressing. I just have an oven sheet and I cut it in half. It's the same thing, different color. I haven't had any problems with it. Okay, so this is now the size of my art. All right. So what I need to do now is I need to make this where it's not a square, because if I put this foam under my shirt and I press it, it's still going to have the lines indented into the shirt that is the edge of this art. So what I'm going to do is what I call tapering off. I'm going to sideways, I'm going to cut the angles of this foam in a sideways direction or in a 45-degree angle so that it will create a curve. So let me get my scissors and do that right fast. This can be kind of tedious, but it is necessary. On my edges, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm cutting around. So I'm making all of my corners circular, so they're not points. So it's going to change from being a rectangle to elongated oval, basically. Yeah, so I'm just making the corners round, and I'm not cutting through the bottom of the foam. I'm just cutting this top edge because I want it to, like I said, taper down. Also, I'm going to cut the corners up in a slant so that it's kind of like a, little angle going down there. And it doesn't have to be the absolute best cuts. What you want to make sure you're not doing is cutting so much that you get into the area of design. You want to have about a half of an inch in between where your taper starts and the actual design. That way, it's easy to line up the design when you do multiple shirts, and it doesn't take you a long time trying to see if the design is going to fit within the space of the foam. Got one more corner. All right, so I did my corners first. Now I'm going to go back and just taper the sides. So I'm just cutting basically where just cutting the top edge off all the way around. And it's just going to make the foam slide down just ever so slightly. The reason that I do that is I want to kind of print my art on a heel per se, or on a pillow. So if it's laying on the pillow, when I put it on the heat press and I bring the heat press down to sublimate it, I'm going to compress the foam a little bit. I'm going to have the heat press set up high so that it doesn't press down the whole 1.5 inches of pressure and make the foam flat. That way, you still get the heat and you get it pressing up against the shirt, but you don't get the impression of the lines. And I figured out that that is the easiest way to go about this. Um, it's tedious to make this like this, but it's cheap. And once you make it, you'll always have it. All right. So now I got to cut. I don't know if you can see that, but I have tapered it off on the edges. So it's cut at an angle all the way around. And at the top where it was a right angle, I have cut those into a curve. So you have all curves at the top, but you still have right angles at the bottom. You can probably better see that on the side how I've tapered that down. All right. My next step, that was pretty much the hard part of all this, actually, to be honest. So my next step is to get this paper. This is going to be like the wrapping or the protection for the foam. I'm putting something around the foam for two reasons. I don't want to put the foam directly on my shirt. The foam has little holes in it, and stretching this paper across, I feel like makes it a more solid surface. And also, I need to bend this slightly so that it is more like a pillow. So I need a little arch in it, because when the press comes down, it's going to compress this and push it up against the shirt firmly. So what I'm going to do is enclose it inside this paper and give it just a slight little bulge. So I take my adhesive, spray my paper. The adhesive that I have is a clear tacky spray. I think it's Aleene's Original. So this is clear when I heat press, so I can also use it on art. When I stick this down, it is not going to be sticky. 9 times out of 10, so I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use the heat to stick the adhesive. My machine was adjusted up because I was printing earlier. I'm about to put my press all the way down, almost all the way down. It doesn't have to be all the way hot, but you do want it to at least be, about 200 degrees. We're not trying to flatten this. We're just trying to adhere the paper to it. So I'm not going to hold it down for a long time at first. Just sticking the paper to it. So now as you see, the paper has adhered to the foam a little bit. It's a little loose, but that's cool. I didn't spray it that good, and I wasn't trying to get a big buildup of spray on my sheet. Now, this part is important because you're going to be building a little tension. I'm going to take my gloves off. The tape will stick to your gloves and on them anyway. So what I do is I put a piece of tape. And I connect the two sides together in the middle. And when I do that, I'm going to make a slight little arch in the foam. So this is creating tension. So I'm pulling the pieces of paper together, basically, and connecting them to each other, and the foam's going to be caught in that tension. So tape on one side. I hold it down with my hand. You see how this lip is up in the air a little bit? You don't want it to be so much that it's like a curl. You just want it just enough where you know that it's compressed a little bit. All right. So I did that in one direction, and as you can see, it's tight around there. Actually, that could be just a little bit tighter. I'll take my tape off and stretch it just a little bit more. Yeah, you want it to have like a little bounce when you hit it. So it's about a ½ inch off of the table, and I can push it down a little bit. When it's like that, that's when you know you have a good arch in your pillow, right? All right, so I put a couple pieces of tape just to reinforce what I did. I want this to last me a while. This is not heat-proof tape. But there's very good tape and it's sticky tape, and that's why I'm using it. I don't necessarily need heat-proof tape because I'm about to cover this all up. So now I'm going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So I'm going to pull this, and then I'm going to pull the opposite end together. And I'm going to use a piece of tape to get that tension. If it rips a little bit, it's okay as long as it's in the back. I'm just going to add an extra piece of tape over that rip, and I'll show you why that doesn't matter here in just a second. Only side I'm worried about as far as the neatness is the top side. So the top side, I have no wrinkles or very minimum wrinkles. If there are any wrinkles, when I stretch it, the wrinkles come out. So as you see, it's very smooth. It's not going to create any tough creases when I press it, just like a pillow, soft. All right. So the pillow is really done. We just need to lock in what we made. So what I like to do is wrap it again. So I'm putting another sheet of paper down. I'm going to spray it. Wrong direction. Make sure it's as smooth as I can get it. Pour some piece of tape. So we have it strong now, and you'll feel the firmness in this especially when you do the second sheet. It's not the same material as the Teflon ones, but it still feels great, just like they do. Another piece of tape. It's getting sticky. It's getting real sticky. Right. All right. So now we've done 2 layers, and that's very smooth. It has a curve in it, like it as you see, you can kind of tell that the ends are tapered now, and you can see that it's not completely flat. So now, um, to lock everything in, I'm gonna take the pillow and I'm gonna lay it down on one more sheet. Now this sheet is just for the back. I'm not covering the front anymore, so just take a pencil and I outline my pillow. I rip that, so I'm gonna do it again and be more careful and not rush. Let's do that again. Lay my pillow down. I'm just gonna trace around it ever so slightly. It's sensitive paper, but it's sturdy paper at the same time when you're heat pressing. So once you get it around this pillow, you don't have to worry about like it tearing up and stuff. After you press it too, it becomes more solid because it has a lot of adhesive in there, and you put several layers. So you're gonna make essentially one thick sheet, almost like paper mache. All right. So what I'm doing now, I'm just making a back to lock in my tape so that when I put this on the inside of my shirt, that tape doesn't melt and get on the inside of my shirt. So I'm protecting the shirt all the way around. Sublimation will not stick to this parchment paper, or not parchment paper, but it will not stick to this wax type of paper. Anytime I'm spraying, I have a tendency to put it in a box so I don't get adhesive everywhere. So this is my little spray box. Probably gotta get a bigger one, but for now we're gonna use it. So I take my adhesive spray and I spray it pretty good. Make sure it's got a good amount of spray. This is what's gonna lock everything together. So this is gonna tuck in all my little loose piece of paper to make it real neat. And I use this to seal it in. Now, as you can see, it's loose, but the heat press is going to solve that. I put the heat press all the way down when I make these. So when I make it, I am compressing it. I don't have it like, I probably have about 10 threads showing on the machine. When I print this, I'm going to print it all the way at the top because it's 1.5 thick foam. If it was 1 inch thick, I probably wouldn't have to put the machine all the way at the top, but I got 1.5 thick inch. 1.5 inch thick. So that is what it is. About 15 seconds and that's cool. Put that back around and you have your pillow. If you want, you can put another layer on your bottom. I know that my bottom's I know that the bottom of this is gonna adhere to it more and more as I press. I do have like some hangage that's not under adhesive. So I'm just gonna spray that down. Then reheat it again. This should be the last heat. This time I'm gonna let it sit for the whole 60 seconds because this is the that's the end of it. So I'm gonna do 60 seconds on the heat press. It's basically locking in the layers that are made. It's flattening the foam a little bit, and when the foam flattens while it's underneath the press, it contracts. So when I take it from under the press, it's going to start to cool down, and the foam is going to try to get back to its original size, but it's within that paper. So it's gonna make a pillow. A couple more seconds. And as you see, it is done. Crispy, smooth, and crispy. And now I'm gonna show you how to use it. Come on, live, Lena. Never mind. Doing this little tutorial real quick. I don't have to. I wasn't using. I don't have to. I'll turn the machine off too. I've been here for some hours, saving energy. You know.
Yeah, that's fine. I was supposed to behind it.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah. Let me get this design. I'll be right back. All right. I actually just did a video prior, and I was doing a smaller print off of the pillow that I made originally, which was what I was showing you when I started the video. So here was the smaller print, and here was a smaller pillow. As you see, the pillow is smaller than the print, but it does. I mean, the pillow is smaller than a sheet of paper, but it covers up the entire print. And that was the point of us using the actual sheet of paper that we're pressing on in the beginning. So what we're doing is we're creating a soft surface that the pillow presses down against, and the corners of the sheet of paper do not touch up against the shirt, which removes the possibility of making lines on your polyester. Because once you get lines into that polyester shirt, when you're pressing it with the heat, they're never coming out. Doesn't matter if you wash it. It doesn't matter if you go back and try to press the whole shirt. The lines are not going to come out. So if you have lines from your paper in your polyester shirt, you pretty much ruin the shirt. And I'm a stickler for perfection, so I'm going to have to get the cleanest result possible when I'm printing anything. All right, so I have my art. I have a little piece of ink on the corner of this. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a little piece of black. You always have to be aware of that. Like even if it's just a dot of ink somewhere that it does not belong, it's going to make an impression on your shirt. So I would have just had a black dot at the bottom of my shirt if I had not cut that little corner off. Sometimes I even cut off all the corners just in case. My particular printer, for some reason, the rollers every other sheet like to grab the sheet and put a little piece of ink on there. So I'm just cautious of that. All right, so how do I use this pillow? I'm about to show you. Get my shirt. Get a big enough shirt. Get a bigger shirt. See what size I got. Yeah, so this is adult medium. Pretty big shirt, so obviously I'm not going to use a smaller design. This, I'm using a roller to get the lint off. Anytime you have lint on a polyester shirt and you're sublimating it, it's going to turn the lint blue. So I make sure to get all the lint off my board. I don't like to raw dog it or use my hands when I'm printing because I have oil in my fingers and sublimation is very sensitive. Make sure my area is clean. Make sure everything's swept up. Make sure I have no trash around, nothing that can touch it. And then after I print, I put them back into the plastic bin that I got it out of so I know that there's no dust or trash getting on the shirts to keep them icy white and clean. So I just evaluate my shirt, make sure everything's good. On this particular press, for whatever reason, it has a bar under it, so I can't slide the shirt all the way on the press like on traditional presses. So I just lay the shirt up there. It actually doesn't matter though because I'm using a pillow anyway. So lay the shirt up. I line up my pillow. Then I line up my art on the sheet. I get my Teflon paper, put it on top of the design, and now I'm gonna put my machine all the way up. I'm gonna put the heat press all the way up. So I'm going up to the top so I have no threads. And the reason I'm doing that is to allow for the space that I'm creating using that foam. So I need that 1.5 inch space. So it's still gonna go down and be on the shirt. I won't be able to pull the shirt from underneath the press, so I know that it's tight on there. I'm gonna get all the pressure and all the color's gonna come through. But I'm making sure that I don't flatten the pillow more than I need to or press the shirt up against the paper with too much pressure, making an impression. And now we just wait a minute while the ink heats up, turning it into dye and going into the fabrics of the polyester shirt, hence dye sublimation. My machine gets down in 3 seconds, it beeps, and then I know that it's done if I wasn't standing here watching. So it's done. I remove my polyester sheet, my Teflon. Take the sheet out. There you have it. It's a press shirt. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just a smooth print. Right on.